The Best Dad Show is currently streaming Season 3 on Prime Video and is better than ever. Prime Video's Reacher is one of the best dad shows available to stream right now, and it just released its thrilling third season that many already agree is its best ever. I had been aware of Reacher's popularity for quite some time before finally binge-watching the first 2 seasons in less than 2 weeks. While I'm not a father yet, I couldn't help but get immersed in Alan Ritchson's exceptional portrayal of Jack Reacher based on the acclaimed book series by Lee Child. At his most basic level, Reacher is an alpha male who leads by example, gets the girl, and saves the day. These types of action heroes used to be the industry standard, but nowadays, they have become vintage thanks to the rise of popular anti-heroes such as Walter White in Breaking Bad. In this day and age, it's refreshing to follow a character who has the skills and intelligence to get the job done, rather than wallow in his misery fueled by regrets, addictions, and whatnot. Reacher Season 3 is streaming now and improves upon Season 2. Reacher is refreshingly simple, even if it is somewhat formulaic, but like a well-oiled machine, Reacher is reliable in both quality and output. With Reacher Season 3 having just been released on Amazon Prime Video, now is the ideal time to start watching the series its very first episode if you haven't yet. With 8 episodes per season filled to the brim with action and suspense, Reacher flies by with hardly any dull moments. Those who started watching Reacher Season 1 tonight could catch up in time for the Season 3 finale, which comes out on March 27th. Critics gave Reacher Season 3 a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes, with some referring to it as the best season of the Amazon Prime Video series thus far. With nearly 30 Jack Reacher novels written, Amazon's Reacher has the pipes to churn out another 3 seasons with ease, making it a solid investment. For viewers who can't get enough of Reacher, the books are readily available as well, which has formed a large and devoted fanbase around the character and franchise. Amazon's Reacher is widely considered to be a step up from the Tom Cruise-led feature film iteration from 2012 and its 2016 sequel, for that matter. While there's a fair share of violence, the series maintains an enjoyable tone, never getting too dark to the point where it loses its charm and appeal. As an anthological series, with each season featuring a new location, supporting characters, villains, and missions, Reacher doesn't need to be started from its pilot episode. However, there are benefits and Easter eggs in Season 3 available to longtime viewers. What makes Reacher such a great dad show? Reacher has a classic vibe and masculine focus that often gives it the reputation of being a dad show. Its emphasis on action and adventure with a clear objective and antagonist places it in the same category as many classic action movies like Die Hard and even First Blood. Even though Reacher is highly respectable, he is also rebellious, bending the law to his will to enact his own, often better, version of justice. Reacher is also admirable because he has an exemplary moral code combined with a decorated military background. Despite this, he maintains a drifter lifestyle, roaming the United States and uncovering crime and corruption, which also typically strikes a personal chord with someone from Reacher's past. Even though Reacher is highly respectable, he is also rebellious, bending the law to his will to enact his own, often better, version of justice. Let's get one thing straight. Not all dad shows are created equal. While many of these series traffic in stoic heroes, tactical action, and a no-nonsense approach to justice, few of them manage to nail both the adrenaline-pumping excitement and surprisingly sharp character work like Reacher. Now, deep into its 3rd season on Prime Video, Reacher isn't just the best dad show currently streaming, it's arguably better than ever. For those somehow still out of the loop, Reacher follows Jack Reacher, played with gravelly charisma and physical menace by Alan Ritchson, a former military police major turned drifter who inevitably finds trouble and the people causing it wherever he roams. Adapted from Lee Child's best-selling novels, the show strips away the gloss and gadgetry that often clutters action thrillers and goes straight for the throat. Clean, efficient storytelling with punchy dialogue, well-staged fight scenes, and moral clarity that doesn't get bogged down in ambiguity for ambiguity's sake. Season 3, based on Persuader, one of the darker and more intense entries in Child's long-running book series, sees Reacher infiltrate a criminal operation under the guise of an undercover mission. It's a setup tailor-made for both suspense and bone-crunching action, and showrunner Nick Santora and his team don't waste the opportunity. There are sieges, shootouts, brutal hand-to-hand fights, and that distinctive Reacher flavor. An unflinching protagonist who dishes out justice like a human wrecking ball with a PhD in detective work. But what makes Reacher stand out, especially now in its third season, is how confidently the show has settled into its groove. This isn't just a rote procedural or another grimdark actioner. It's a series that trusts its audience to appreciate competence, simplicity, and, dare we say it, a certain old-school approach to heroism. Reacher doesn't brood endlessly, he doesn't crack under pressure, and he certainly doesn't monologue about his inner demons. He assesses, acts, and lets his fists and intellect speak for him. Season 3 also does something rare for adaptations of long-running franchises. It deepens its world without losing sight of what made it compelling in the first place. The supporting cast this season is stellar, with Maria Sten returning as Frances Neagley, Reacher's most trusted confidant, bringing sharp banter and tactical expertise that makes their scenes crackle. Meanwhile, the villains are layered and dangerous enough to actually pose a credible threat, raising the stakes beyond just another weekly bad guy for Reacher to flatten. Visually, the show continues to punch well above its weight. The cinematography leans into wide-open American landscapes and grimy urban underbellies alike, reflecting Reacher's nomadic journey. It's a throwback to both westerns and 70s thrillers, evoking a time when lone wolf heroes walked into town, cleaned up the mess, and left before anyone could ask too many questions. The action choreography, as always, is top-notch, raw, efficient, and satisfyingly brutal without ever veering into gratuitous violence. You feel every punch and hear every bone snap, and yes, Reacher still delivers his signature headbutt heard round the world when needed. What really elevates Season 3, however, is Alan Ritchson's performance. If Season 1 introduced him as a physical match for the book's famously imposing protagonist, and Season 2 showed his ability to lead an ensemble with warmth and dry humor, Season 3 cements him as one of the most compelling action leads on TV right now. Ritchson balances Reacher's stoicism with flickers of dry wit and a surprisingly warm moral code that keeps him from becoming a cold automaton. His Reacher is blunt, yes, but never dull. It's that balance that makes Reacher such a perfect dad show. Sure, the term might sound reductive, but in reality, it speaks to a very specific kind of storytelling. Stories about capable adults handling business with a minimum of melodrama and a maximum of effectiveness. Think 24, Justified, Bosch, and now, definitively, Reacher. These are shows where the protagonist doesn't get bogged down in existential dread or self-pity. They have a job to do, and by God, they'll do it right. Even better, Reacher knows exactly what it is and never tries to apologize for it. There are no winks to the audience, no ironic detachment, no attempts to subvert the very genre it's operating in. The writers and performers respect both the material and the audience, delivering a straight-ahead action drama that feels like a breath of fresh air in an era where many shows can't resist being too clever for their own good. With Season 3 now streaming in full on Prime Video, there's never been a better time to jump in or catch up. Whether you're a long-time fan of the books, or just someone who enjoys a well-crafted, tightly